Well, still trying to remove that graffiti from the sidewalk in front of my apartment. So day one, I tried dishwasher fluid. I'm just using something like this, you know, in a bucket with hot water. I tried this, scrubbing bubbles, and I even tried this. This is supposed to remove stains from fabric, but I tried it anyway. Did not work, right? So I got the best results from slow method number 2, which was explained in my video, where I went to Home Depot and I got that spray or paste called Easy Strip, basically Easy Paint Stripper. And if you saw that video, it's not as easy as the manufacturers of this product want you to believe. Basically, you're supposed to spread that paste and wait like 10 minutes and then scrape it off. But also, what I discovered, it leaves a mess because you really need to wash the area after. Otherwise, that paste, it becomes, you know, partly paint, right? So like in this case, that paste became like a reddish in color, and I used a broom to, you know, sweep it away, but still a few tiny specks left there. And so I walked this morning to look, and I see these red specks on the, even though the paint is like 50% removed, but now we have these red specks all over the place because they get stuck in there, right? So it was time to try a different approach. I went to back to Home Depot, and the plan was to buy a cheap electric power washer. I did some research yesterday. People say, oh yeah, like even this one, like $126, and then the same one, for some reason everything looks the same. Maybe the hose was not included on the cheap one, but then the same box, $165. And so I went to the Home Depot, found the aisle where all these pressure washers are located, and then I guess I looked totally lost because the employee of Home Depot came over. She says, you need any advice? I said, yeah, I never had a pressure washer before, and I looked at some hoses. I understand I need to buy a garden hose, right? But this thing develops 1800 psi, and all the garden hoses I looked at, it says 400 psi. So I said, they're just gonna explode, right? And the lady looked at me for a second and she says, no. And I said, can you please explain? And she says, well, because the pressure only builds inside that machine, inside the pressure washer. So you only need high pressure hose after the machine, and that's what comes supplied with that. But she says the hose, you still need to buy the hose to connect your tap or faucet to the machine. That's just a regular flow. And I said, okay. Then I went to look at some hoses, 50 feet, 30 feet. But then, of course, the big problem is it's not a house, right? I don't have any external taps on the wall outside. I cannot hook up a garden hose. So in my case, the solution is to buy some kind of an adapter to hook it up to my faucet, you know, but then I would need 25 feet from the kitchen faucet to the door, and then it might work with that 20-foot high pressure hose. But I couldn't find the proper adapters, you know, because I took a picture of my faucet. I went over, asked the guy whether, can you help me, like what kind of adapter do I need? He pointed me to some, but they didn't look, you know, 100% correct. And so I went back to my car, and I'm thinking, okay, hold on. Who do I know who knows a lot about plumbing? I'm like, bingo, Alan from Keswick. Remember that guy that was helping me all the time with the trailer? And I was joking, saying plumbers helping truckers. and he helped me quite a few times with the truck, with the trailer. So I called him. I said, Alan, I need your advice. Like, how do I connect the garden hose to a faucet? And he says, what are you trying to do? I said, well, I explained the situation. And he says, I would not do that. He says, first off, yeah, you can buy an adapter, but he says, first off, he says, I don't think 1800 psi is enough. He says, I think you need a much more expensive pressure washer, something like 3500 or 4000 psi to remove paint which is already dried in, you know. And he says, what I did, he says, I had a similar situation before. I just bought a grinder, you know, like angle grinder. He says, kind of like what you had before when you were removing rust. He says, do you still have it? I said, no, because I didn't have much room in my car when I was leaving Ontario, right? And so I threw it out. Plus it was all dirty and stuff like that. No, actually, I think I left it, you know, because I had a toolbox. So I put the toolbox in the side compartment, and I left the grinder there, hoping that, you know, guys might use it. So yeah, I did not throw out the tools, but I couldn't take them with me. Like, I already had the accordion, I had, you know, a lot of stuff inside my car, right? And I just jumped in the car and I started driving west through US, right, visiting all these parks, and then ended up in Alberta. That's where I live now. And so yeah, so Alan explained what works, and he says he did it. He says works very well, and he says you can probably rent one, but he says you don't need a big one. And I said, yeah, you know, it's just a line. It's not like a picture, right, that I'm trying to, like a real graffiti. This is just a line on the concrete made by spray paint can, right? So it's narrow, right? So it shouldn't be that kind of difficult to. I don't need a big grinder. And so after we hang up, I went back to Home Depot, talked to the employee, and I got this. So surprisingly, I was looking at the pressure washer by the same company, RYOBI. So this is angle grinder, and it's electric. Why? Because actually outside, you know, we have a patio. They gave us the electric socket because I'm guessing they expect people to barbecue there or do something. So we'll put a light, you know, something. But there's electricity there, right? And so I got this. So this was 65 bucks Canadian. And then I got two. Again, the employee of Home Depot helped me to do all this. So I got the coarsest, ultra coarse 4.5 disc, very coarse. So I got two of them. They were like 10 bucks each. And then I got 30-foot cord, power cord. So 30 foot should be okay. 25 I thought might be a little bit too short. This is 16 gauge. Have no idea what that means, but should be enough. And I think this was 20 bucks or something. So anyway, all of this, the two discs and the grinder after tax was $116 Canadian. And the last item I purchased was some Czech Polish beer. So I think we should be good because this should be a one beer job. And I parked my car on the street so that in case there's some dust flies over, so my spot is empty. And then I got these gloves. So let's unpack it, hook it up, and go do some damage. Okay, so the cord is connected. Everything is cool. I tried it. It works very well. All I had to do was I had to move this guard, because originally it was like this, but because I'm right-handed, so they recommend putting it like this so it protects your
what you said. I'll make you have some regrets, and no, I never forget. So now you have a few debts. That shit, it needs to be paid with blood or some sort of pain. You caused a permanent stain, which has determined your fate. I've never seen so clear. I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here. The sound of deafening fear. You don't die if you try. You just might get a little bit of trouble.
Grinding is done, and I took care of some spots in here. I remember I was painting some targets, some steel gongs, and even though I put some paper underneath, the black paint still got in, and I still couldn't get everything. You know why? Because this is very it's not like here is level, right? It's flat, but here I'm guessing they did it for winter, so that it's not slippery. It's very rough, there's a lot of hills and valleys in there. So like if it was like this, I could have taken all of it, but basically I probably took out another 50%, but I think it's gonna, with the rain, with the snow, it's gonna be okay. So now I just want to clean up a little bit. Yeah, that's it. No more cleaning. It was fun.